The January 6th committee releasing new evidence about the former president Trump's actions leading up to the Capitol attack and how extremist groups responded to his calls for a rally in Washington. Lawmakers are now pointing to a Trump tweet drafted days before the insurrection to summon the crowd to the Capitol. We also heard testimony for the first time from Trump's former White House counsel, Pat Cipollone. Among other things, he detailed an intense clash in the Oval Office over what he says were proposals to seize voting machines and overturn the election. And the committee's vice chair, Liz Cheney, suggested Trump tried to influence a witness who had yet to testify, referring the incident to the Justice Department. Investigative reporter Katherine Faulders joins me live now for more on all of this. Katherine, the committee showed that draft tweet from former President Trump that appears to show he planned to march to the Capitol ahead of time. How significant is that?
Yeah, the committee showed that tweet, which was from 2 days prior, the 4th of January, along with text message communications between rally organizers and some Trump allies. It's significant because it's the first piece of evidence that the committee has shown that makes that direct tie between those rally organizers. You see that tweet on the screen there, between the rally organizers and the White House and Trump himself. Important about that tweet is that he says, please arrive early, massive crowds expected, march to the Capitol after. The tweet was never sent, but it shows that there was this intention for Trump to have his supporters march to the Capitol. There was that text message exchange also between the organizers that essentially detailed this setup, that they were going to have a separate stage, a second stage outside of the Supreme Court, and that the president was just going to unexpectedly announce, you see it there, unexpectedly call for his supporters to go to the Capitol. All of this shows this plan, this broader plot that shows the involvement of the White House and Trump and the rally organizers.
Now, Congresswoman Cheney also says that Trump tried to call a witness who hasn't publicly testified yet, that it was reported to the Justice Department. How serious is this accusation of witness tampering? Because it's also not the first.
It depends exactly what was said here. We know that a witness was called by Trump, that the call was missed. There's lots of unanswered questions. Was there a voicemail? Did Trump get in touch with other witnesses, for example? But the committee will say that this is important for the Justice Department to know. And I talked to Jamie Raskin, a member of the committee, after this hearing, who said that this is just part of this broader plot, in a way, to show witness tampering. You saw from the hearing with Cassidy Hutchinson how Cheney displayed those messages that we learned were sent to Hutchinson, attempting to potentially influence her testimony. So Raskin and the committee says this is part of this effort that they're seeing from Trump and his allies to attempt to get in touch with witnesses and potentially attempt to influence their testimony.
Now, the panel initially billed Tuesday's hearing as one that would underscore ties between far-right extremist groups and those in Trump's orbit. Now, they did note ties to Republican operative Roger Stone and former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, but no evidence so far that Trump himself had contacts with far-right groups or was aware of what they were planning before January 6th. How crucial is that?
That's the question, and they've kind of laid the groundwork for this in a way. You remember from Cassidy Hutchinson saying that when Rudy Giuliani was in the White House, she heard him talk about these groups. You saw yesterday, as you mentioned, the ties to Michael Flynn and Roger Stone, then getting closer and closer to the White House. But, Diane, that question remains. Was there knowledge from Trump that these groups were involved? Now, they would show and say in their evidence yesterday that Trump knew that some of his tweets that he was sending out, the be there, it's going to be wild, was a specific call for his supporters to come to Washington. You heard that from some of the rioters yesterday, but that is where they need to connect the dots, potentially a little bit more. But it's important to point out that in the separate investigation going on in the Justice Department, that they have focused in on these groups, the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys. They have interviewed many of these rioters. You've seen plenty have been charged with seditious conspiracy, so they have really narrowed in on this.
Now, the committee is expected to hold its final hearing in prime time next Thursday. So what do they need to know, or what do they need to do, rather, to really create a lasting impact here?
So The main question here, and part of the themes of a lot of these hearings, was that 187 minutes where Trump was absent in the Oval Office the day of January 6th. Questions that still need to be answered from whether it's witness testimony or evidence is what was Trump doing at that time? We heard from testimony that Mark Meadows, the former chief of staff, was just sitting on his cell phone, that Trump wanted to be by himself in the Oval Office watching television, as we reported at the time. Who was he calling? We've seen the White House call logs. Those are the official White House call logs from the switchboard. Whose cell phones was he using? Who was he in touch with? All of those questions obviously need to be answered, and that's what the committee will focus on now. But I will say that Chairman Thompson did say yesterday that this is their final hearing for now, but their work still continues. They're getting more evidence, so there could be potentially more hearings added.
All right, Katherine Faulders, thank you for that.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.